I'm sorry. I had to disconnect for a minute. I'm just going to give a second, see if everybody catches up. Hi, Dawn. Sorry about that. Okay. I'll give everybody a second and then I'll start talking again. My apologies. Where was I? Oh, yes. Hi, Tammy. Hi, LJ. Yes, I am supposed to say something now, Don. I'm just waiting for people to come back online. My apologies, I had to disconnect because I suddenly got a message saying that I was through 90% of my data, and that's because I forgot to put my phone on Wi-Fi before I started. So my apologies to all. So I'll just start speaking again and then I'll apologize again. Okay, so part two, we are talking about, oh yes, so the first pouch is the towel, the second pouch is the soap, etc. The third pouch is for toilet paper and wipes. I used freezer bags, by Ziploc or whatever. And the last bag, and this is very important, in the last bag I have ibuprofen, magnesium supplement, an adjustable brace, and earplugs. So let me explain. I injured myself on the Camino. I got shin splints in both legs, and I also started having issues with my right knee. So I got this wonderful piece of equipment. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Here you are. This is an adjustable brace. So I first got it to use on my knee. What did I put it on first? My knee, I think. Or my shin, I can't remember. In any case, I was able to put it on both my shin and my knee. And you can see it adjusts here with 3 Velcro strips. And literally it got to a point where I would start my day and I'd say, okay, which hurts the most? Either of my shin splints or my knee, and I would move this around so that it would best serve me through the day. So it cost me about 30 euros, which is 45 bucks. I think you can get them cheaper here in Canada. I saw one online yesterday for about 30 bucks, I think 35 bucks. But anyway, worth its weight in gold to me. So that's what that's about. Ibuprofen, wonderful thing to help with swelling and inflammation and pain. So I would highly recommend you get it as a precautionary measure. Maybe you won't need it, but you may well need it, and you'll be very happy to have it. And I also heard along the way, I never did this, but I will make sure to bring it this time, that magnesium supplements apparently are excellent help for muscle cramping. So I will definitely be bringing magnesium supplements with me next time. And earplugs, no, Jane, I didn't have any issues before I went. Earplugs, self-explanatory. Most of the time you're in albergue sleeping with anywhere between a dozen and, what was the biggest place I was in? Over 100 people. So yeah, for sure, bring earplugs. So that's the green pouch. Let me just take a second again and apologize for what happened about 2 minutes ago. I realized that I was using my data and I wasn't connected on Wi-Fi, so I had to stop the call. My apologies for the interruption. Okay, moving on to the next pouch, the blue pouch, which is for my clothing. I got Lululemon shirts. So Lululemon, for those of you who don't know, it's a big manufacturer of stuff here in Vancouver. You do not want to bring anything made of cotton. Cotton gets wet, stays wet. So no cotton. Don't bother bringing any cotton of any kind. Here is one of my Lululemon shirts. So there's the Lululemon symbol. And it's great because it dries very quickly and, what's the phrase? Wicks away moisture from your skin. So I had a couple of these, and what else did I use? I had a fleece top. and a windbreaker. So a couple of different layers. So in the morning when it was really cold, I had all that, and then as the day got warmer, I would just take more and more layers off. But closest to me, something like that. Merino wool is a fantastic product. I had merino wool socks, but I didn't have merino wool anything else. Some people really like it. It's a little pricey, but I think it's well worth it. And that's what's good about it, is that it stays, keeps you warm even if it gets wet, and it helps to wake moisture away from your skin. What else do I want to say? Windbreaker, poncho. You have to get a poncho. By all means, you have to get a poncho, especially as you start getting closer to Santiago de Compostela. The weather changes like that. So having a poncho is absolutely necessary for the trip. Don't leave without a poncho. What else? I got a headlamp because I would normally start my day at 6 a.m. So I was walking for an hour and 15, an hour and a half in the dark. And there are many different kinds of headlamps. Mine is, where is it? Somewhere nearby. Too many things piled on the floor. Anyway, headlamp, many different price points. I made sure to get one. What I would suggest you do is get one that you can recharge with USB. So that's what I did. I never used batteries the entire way. I was able to charge mine with USB whenever I was somewhere near a power supply. So that was great. What else do I want to tell you? Gloves, sunglasses. So the list, I'll read the clothing list. The Lululemon shirts, 2 fleece tops, a windbreaker, a poncho, headlamp, hat, gloves. Gotta have them for those early mornings when it's really cold. Hi, Arlene. Icebreaker is a good brand, says my friend Jacinth, who was walking with me in Ottawa. Thank you, Jacinth. Icebreaker, good brand of headlamp, I'm assuming you're saying. So hat, yeah, I gotta have hat and gloves for those mornings when it's really cold. Sunglasses in the afternoon when the sun gets really bright. I would only wear them for about 2 hours a day, but when I did, I was very happy to have them. Sarong. Let me talk for a minute about sarongs. So, where is it? Sorry, it was all so neatly piled before the call. Okay, here it is. Oh, and here's my headlamp. There's my headlamp. So it has several different settings, different colors and stuff. Black Diamond is the manufacturer make here. So, oh, I need to flip around my screen. See, the stuff isn't backwards. There. So Black Diamond is the brand name. That's what the front of it looks like in case you're looking for pictures online. So a sarong. I love this thing. This was my absolute favorite thing on the Camino because it served 2 very useful purposes for me. One was when I would come out of the shower, of course, I would wear the sarong as it was intended to be worn. And this, I'm assuming, will make you laugh. I called it my Sophia Loren look. When it got really hot outside, I would drape this around my head and tie it under my neck, and it was long enough that it covered my shoulders. So I never experienced sunburn the entire way. When it was really hot, I was protected from the sun. And with my sunglasses and this, I did indeed look like an Italian movie star. Like so. You know, with it tied around your neck. So, anyway. Or perhaps like Lawrence of Arabia. Anyway, it worked very well. You can get these at Swimco. And yeah, just it's worth its weight in gold. What else do I want to tell you? Buff. A buff is just something that you wear around your neck. And I actually wore one, I have been wearing one at night when I sleep. It's great to keep my voice nice and warm and healthy and in tip-top shape for singing. I also ended up wearing it many days on the cold mornings on the Camino. So Buff, B-U-F-F. If I remember correctly, is it REI? That's the American equivalent of Mountain Equipment Co-op, which is the Canadian outfitting store. I'm sure you'd be able to find buffs at either one of those places easily. What else? Shorts. I didn't wear long pants. I got rid of my long pants after the first week. I never needed the long pants. Even on the coldest mornings, I was fine in the shorts. What I will do this time that I didn't do last time is I'll bring long underwear with me. And on the mornings where it's really cold, I'll wear the long underwear, the leggings of the long underwear for the first couple of hours. But really, shorts were fine. I got, shorts with mini pockets in them. One of the buddies that I got close to on the Camino wore a kilt. And, he definitely got some flack and some cute comments from people about that. But I'm actually considering getting one myself. You can get, I think he had what is called the utility kilt. 4 big pockets in it. And very comfortable to walk in. So for the guys, that may be something you want to consider. Or maybe the gals too, I don't know. Bathing suit, of course. If you do get to the coast, which is what I did, and actually get into the ocean, you want to have your bathing suit with you. Although I didn't swim in the ocean this time, too cold. Underwear, just 2 pairs of underwear. Make sure that you get underwear that is, again, same sort of thing, made of merino wool, made of something that draws the moisture away from your skin. And 2 pairs are fine. 2 pairs of socks, 2 pairs of underwear are fine. So, whenever you get okay, so let's jump to laundry here. One of my concerns before I went was doing laundry. And it ended up becoming a very simple exercise. I would just, every day I would make a point of washing the layer closest to me. So my underwear, my socks, my towel, and my what else? Oh, the Lululemon shirt that was closest to my skin. And every, say, 5 days, 6 days, if I was in an albergue that had a washer and a dryer, then I would give everything a good wash. But on a day-to-day basis, you don't really need to do all. I didn't find it necessary. What else? So on the feet, socks, the shoes, rain covers, something I didn't get last time. I had waterproof shoes, but one day I was caught in really heavy rain and the shoes were fine, but my socks got completely soaked. So I was walking in wet socks for 3 hours and that was no fun. So I'm doing some research into getting rain covers for my shoes, and I haven't found them yet. The only rain covers I found are for cycling shoes. So if anybody can tell me where to find those things, then let me know. What else? Flip-flops. You want to have a second pair of shoes to wear when you get to an albergue. I suggest flip-flops because they're light, and chances are you're probably not going to want to do a lot of walking whenever you get to where you're getting. So just a pair of flip-flops to just, go close to where you're staying will probably do you just fine. They certainly serve me just fine. Long underwear, as I said, I have, again, from Mountain Equipment Co-op. They're made of whatever that is, polypropylene. So again, no cotton. And a mesh laundry bag. I think I used this once. So the purpose of the mesh laundry bag is if you have just a small load of laundry and you want to get in on a laundry load with someone else, put all your stuff in this mesh laundry bag to keep your stuff separate. So, like as I said, I think I only used it once, but it was nice to have it when that moment arose. Okay, so that's the green pouch, the blue pouch, the second blue pouch. I've already talked about the bedding, getting the fitted sheet, the regular sheet, and the pillowcase. Maybe right now, let me jump ahead to bed bugs. Bed bugs are a concern on the Camino. Everybody's concerned about getting them. In my experience, 3 of my friends got them, 2 women and 1 guy. And not fun. They were very itchy for days afterwards. I was surprised when I got to Santiago to discover that I had bed bugs. And the person who took a look at my back said, well, these are at least a week old. So I felt itchiness in my skin, but that would just give you an idea of the extent to which it impacted me. Not very much. Please be, what do I want to say about this? Don't be too concerned about it. I mean, yeah, it's a drag if it happens, but what you need to do is to get a cream, and I have the stuff written on the list here with a certain kind of ingredient that helps with the itching. And the clothing, just make sure that you wash it in hot water, or your bedding, I should say, bedding or clothing, in the hottest water you can, and dry it in the hottest dryer you can. Some people opt to get rid of everything and buy all new clothes. Your mileage may vary. Do what feels right to you, but you should know that it is a possibility. But it's not the end of the world. It won't stop your trip, not by a long shot. So in the black bag, I kept my bank book, my travel documents, my phone, and the power cord and the adapter. Adapter. This is worth talking about if I can find it. Yes. So in North America, you can get adapters from 110 to 220 rather. But they're very small. They look kind of like this, just what's coming out from my fist here, and then that part goes into the wall. But most of the outlets in Europe are recessed into the wall. So I had two of these. They were blue, and I ended up losing them because in my haste to leave, I forgot to go into the recess and get out the piece that was missing. This I got from one of my German friends. It's an Apple adapter. It's made in Europe, and you can see there's no way that you would forget this. It's long enough that you can put it into the wall and take it out when you leave. So if you don't have one of these, and chances are if you're in North America you won't, when you get over there and you're passing through one of the bigger towns, if you don't already have one, that is, one of the smaller ones, get one of these anyway, because chances are you will lose the shorter ones. What else want to tell you? The phone, the cord, adapter, earbuds, charger, and cord. Something that I didn't have, but I will get this time, is you can get a multi-USB charger so that you can put in several devices at the same time and plug them into one outlet. What's good about getting one that has two or more is, in my case, I could charge my phone, I could charge my headlamp. But the other thing that's nice is if you have 3 or 4, then you can be a nice person to other people in the albergue, because there aren't a million different outlets. So if you have something that has 3 or 4 inputs on it, then you can be earning some good karma by helping people with a multi USB input. I will be making a point of bringing more lyrics with me to more songs. I led several sing-alongs on this last trip, but that's all going to be loaded on my phone, so that's a non-issue. Here's the silliest thing I got, the most self-indulgent thing I brought. I didn't know whether to get... I didn't know whether to bring a journal or to bring my phone. Like, how was I going to journal and stuff? So what I ended up doing was getting this, which is ridiculously big, and I will not bring again. This is a Bluetooth keyboard that I was using with my phone, and it's pretty hefty. I'm sure it's probably a pound on its own. So, right there is the reason why I was carrying too much weight. This is the Logitech K480. Don't get this. What I will be doing, though, I think, is getting the Logitech K380, which is, I think, about 3/4 the size. And again, I'm opting to do that just because I would rather type on this than use my thumbs on my phone. So if you have an iPad, I suppose you could do that if you really wanted to bring something. But again, I'm trying to think about bringing whatever's smallest and easiest to transport. Okay, what else? A flash drive. You can get flash drives to fit into your phone. I would suggest you get one, because if you're going to shoot any video on your phone, it'll take up a lot of memory. And the flash drives are great. They have a USB connection and a lightning connection, so it'll fit into your iPhone. So you can download stuff right onto the flash drive, so you can free up more memory in your phone. It costs about $50, I think. Well worth getting. And a journal and a pen. So that's all there is to say in the black bag. In the top of the backpack, I had a water bottle, a spork. Here's a spork. Combination spoon and fork. Swiss Army knife, of course. A couple of plastic bags, bungee cords, clothespins, and can opener, ? Now, I brought a can opener last time, didn't use it once, and, actually it was one of the things that I decided to ship ahead to Santiago, and wouldn't you know it, the day that I did that, I started seeing all kinds of great food in cans, and I had to laugh about that. So it's your choice if you want to bring a can opener or not, or maybe on your Swiss Army knife it's one of your connections. Maybe you'd use it, maybe you wouldn't. So the bungee cords are very handy because you can use them as a clothesline. And something that I wrote on this, which I think you'll find kind of cute. One thing that I noticed when I was in albergues is, especially on rainy days, people would do their laundry, and if it was raining outside, they would hang the bungee cord along their bunk, if they're on the lower bunk, and then hang their stuff on the bungee cord. And that served two purposes. It helped to dry the clothes, and it also helped to kind of create some privacy because you're in a room with a dozen, 2 dozen other people. So you'd see people in their little tents with their clothes around their bed. So I certainly got into that routine. And anyway, just a way to kind of help you enjoy a little bit more privacy in a space that's completely public and open and shared. What else I want to tell you? Waist pack or fanny pack. And in that, I just had 5 very crucial things which I had with me all the time. My guidebook, my phone, my credencial, which I showed you earlier, my passport, and my money. So let's talk a little bit about that. A phone card. Second, getting a SIM card, I should say. Another big mistake that I made was I went without a SIM card. Now, the reason why it would be great to have one is twofold. One, there was free Wi-Fi in every albergue that I was in, but as soon as I would leave the albergue, I would have no way to stay in touch with the people that I was with on the trail who all used WhatsApp. Everybody in Europe uses WhatsApp. So I was limited to when I'd be able to connect with those people when I was at an albergue. If I would have had a SIM card, I would have been able to speak to them all the way along. Secondly, the maps in John Brierley's book are excellent, and if you get more than a block or two away from the routes on John Brierley's map, you're hooped. So I would have really benefited from having Google Maps to help me on some sections. There were 4 or 5 times where I got lost for half an hour at the very most, and then Camino Angel would appear and set me right. So it wasn't a big issue, but it would have made things a little nicer if I would have had a SIM card for communication and for navigation. And money. What did I do about money? Some people opt to go to ATMs along the way. I decided to get all my cash before I left. I had it with me the whole time. My money pouch was with me all the time. In the shower, under my pillow, on the trail. It was always with me. So I never left it lying around anywhere, and I was absolutely fine. Maybe you're not comfortable with that, but I just wanted to tell you that's what I did. And, okay, so what else? Oh, gear-wise, okay, just 2 more things to talk about. Walking sticks. With great humility, I must say that I had real judgment about walking sticks. I would either laugh to myself at people as I saw them walking with them, or I would be annoyed because I'd be in the middle of this beautiful field, and all of a sudden I'd hear clack, 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 clack as someone was coming up behind me with the sticks. Well, lo and behold, you know how that works. One of my knees gave me trouble for most of the trip, and could well have been helped with walking sticks. I actually had a pair the whole way, but I either they don't work well, or I didn't know how to use them, or whatever. But I didn't use them. What ended up saving my bacon the last week of the trip was I got a walking stick, which are easily available at many places on the Camino. And that really helped me a lot. So your mileage may vary. I was blessed I didn't have a lot of rain. So, footing on the trail was pretty good 95% of the time. And on the 5% that it wasn't, are the days that I had the walking stick. I remember one rainy day near the beginning where I almost slipped and fell but didn't. So, yeah, walking sticks or poles, especially for hills and rainy days. Give that some serious thought. Okay. And then, last piece of gear that I bought. Some friends of mine said, well, you're not going to walk the Camino without an instrument, are you? So I gave that a lot of thought and finally ended up getting what's called a guitar-lele. It's a guitar the same size as a ukulele, very light. And it was the perfect instrument. I was able to lead several sing-alongs along the Camino and had an enchanting night singing in a church at one point with that little instrument. So other people opted to bring harmonicas. I heard one man playing Japanese flute, a couple of days. So anyway, something to think about if you're a muso and you want to bring an instrument with you. So now on to odds and ends. Now we're doing for time. Okay, about 10 minutes left. Good. Budget. How much is all this going to cost? These are my numbers, and depending on how much gear you have and where you're coming from, etc. Maybe there'll be more, maybe there'll be less. I budgeted about $2,000 for travel, which is plane flights to and from Vancouver, as well as trains, buses, whatever, to get me down to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port to begin, and I had to pay a baggage fee when I flew back from Santiago de Compostela to Vancouver. So yeah, I think that's a reasonable amount, and the sooner you get your tickets, of course, the better. It was fun for me last night to look online and see some really good prices already for tickets that far away. Gear, I budgeted $1,500, give or take. I think that's a fairly reasonable amount. But, you may have a lot already. You may have stuff you can borrow from other people. So, yeah. But, it's completely up to you what to bring and what not to bring, but make sure that you get yourself some really good shoes and a good pack. And let me say a little bit more about the shoes. You don't need hiking boots, not by any stretch of the imagination. I got waterproof shoes. Some people opt to not get waterproof shoes, but basically they were hiking shoes with a nice tread on the bottom, and they were fine. They suited me just fine, especially after they were broken in. And what else do I want to say about that? Okay, yeah, so travel and gear. So next, food and lodging. As I said, no, I didn't say, I had my money with me all the way. The amount that I settled on was 1,600 euros, so I was gone for 40 days. I had a budget of 40 euros a day, and I was under that handsomely 95% of the time, which is great because there were two big purchases that I made on the trip. One was the knee brace, leg brace that I showed you, which was about 30 euros. And the other one was when I got to Santiago, I treated myself to a tattoo, which cost me 150 euros. And I still came home with money left over. So I think 40 euros a day is a fantastic budget. Now, again, that's if you're deciding to be very conservative with where you're staying and what you're eating. I mean, you could go and spend a lot of money on food if you wanted to, but I had a budget of about 15 euros a day, I'd say, and I was well under budget every day. So give that some thought. What else do I want to tell you? Living expenses. Yeah, so the other thing is I was away for 40 days, so I had to cover 2 months worth of living expenses, rent, etc. And in my case, that was about 4,500. So it's really daunting when I take a look at all these numbers. I think, oh my God, really? It cost almost $10,000 to do this? But it didn't feel like that in the moment. It was spread out over time. I had a lot of work before and after I left, so I didn't feel the pinch of the trip at all. And if this is something that you're being called to do, the money will appear. Trust that it will appear. Time. John Brierley breaks the trip down into 33 days. I did it in 33 days, and then I wanted to go on and do a trip to Finisterre, which is on the coast. It's another 90 kilometers away from Santiago, and for me that was really the best way to end the trip. I live in Vancouver near water. I love the ocean, and I really felt a sense of closure when I was there. So I knew that before I left, and that's why I budgeted a little bit more time. So I did end up walking about 36 days, I think, out of the 40. So, but I'm giving serious thought to taking even more time next time because, you're in this beautiful part of the world, and if you're focused on just getting to the next town, you're going to miss all kinds of beautiful things on the way that you may want to enjoy. A rest day where you can stop and enjoy museums or churches or whatever. So if you can make it longer than 33 days, I would encourage you to do that because I think you'll just enjoy it even more. That said, for those of you who have limitations with vacation time, etc., I met people who would walk, a week or two of the Camino, come back at another time and do a week or two more, etc. Other people who opted to just take buses or trains from one section that they really wanted to walk to another section. You can also take taxis. So it's really flexible. It's completely up to you. The one thing that I would say, though, is if it's important for you to get the document at the end that says you walked the Camino, you absolutely have to walk the last 100 kilometers. And so most people, I think 80% of people, walk from Sarria, Sarria, to Santiago de Compostela. And if you do that, it will still entitle you to get one of those documents. So there's lots of different ways you can do this. And next thing I would say is, for those of you who are concerned about weight, carrying too much weight, there are many companies which will transport your pack from one albergue to the next. I have included two in my document that I will give you if you ask for it. Jacko Trans is one of them, and Camino Facil is another one. And so all you have to do is phone them. You can set it up before you go, or if you have a phone, you can do it as you go. So you don't have to carry anything. I saw many people that just had a very small day pack that would have water and maybe a snack in it, maybe an extra windbreaker or something, so that they wouldn't have to carry the weight. So you can definitely do that as well. Signs. The signs for the Camino are excellent most of the time. There are a million different variations: big yellow arrows, scallop shells. As I said, the Camino de Francés, because it's the most popular Camino, the signs are great. And the odd time when they're not, be patient, look at your GPS, see where other people are going. Or in my case, every once in a while a Camino angel would appear and just shake his or her finger and point me in the direction I should be going. So you're well taken care of on the Camino, for sure. There's an expression which is the Camino provides. It absolutely does. You will feel very well supported as you walk. It's really lovely. What else have I talked about? Food. What I wrote here was when in Spain. If you're a big vegetable eater, if you like salads, it's going to be a tough trip for you. Not a lot of vegetables on the trip. I ended up eating a lot of bread, a lot of chorizo, which is a kind of processed meat, a lot of ham, a lot of cheese, a lot of red wine, a lot of Snickers bars, which is not at all how I eat back at home. So be flexible. You can certainly eat better food than what I just described, but those ended up being my go-to things when I ended up buying my food a lot of the time in grocery stores, which was fine for me. But if you're a foodie, then you'll want to make other choices. Often you can get what's called a Peregrino meal for 10, 11, 12 euros, three-course meal. Some of those were pretty mediocre, some of those were great. So you have lots of options around food if you're flexible. And as I wrote here, remember your budget. Laundry I've covered. Washers and dryers, they're not everywhere, and there aren't as many dryers as washers, but they do exist. But pretty well everywhere there's usually a sink where you can wash stuff by hand. So you'll figure it out as you go. Bed bugs I talked about. One important thing to know is that the cathedral in Santiago de Compostela is not open at present. So for those who are wanting to have that big closure moment at the end of going to the Pilgrim's Mass and seeing I found out that I don't know how to pronounce it, thurible, I think it's called, the incense burner that is swung the length of the church, the cathedral. I didn't get that moment when I was at the church, so I was sad about that. And as I said, for me, the real moment of closure was going to the coast, Finisterre. So just to be aware of that if you're expecting to have that moment when you get there, you'll be disappointed. So find some other ways to experience closure. Connect with the people that you meet along the way on WhatsApp. Go and have yourself a nice celebratory dinner or something like that. Figure out another way to experience your closure moment. And last but not least, learn some Spanish. I didn't learn any Spanish, and there were a couple of times when it would have been very handy for me to have that skill. And 9 times out of 10 you don't need it, but I definitely In one instance, it would have been very handy. I could have helped someone with a jam where there was a misunderstanding happening between an English-speaking person and a Spanish-speaking person. And in the other one, where I just got a look from someone who was working at one of the albergues, who just kind of rolled their eyes as if to say, "Can't you even say anything in Spanish? Can't you even make any kind of effort?" So I will do that. Okay, that's everything that I wanted to talk about. That's a lot. I'm sorry if I went too fast, but as I said, I have this document, and if you want it, all you need to do is just put a message on the Facebook, my Facebook page, or you could email me at nathanaswell@me.com, nathanaswell@me.com. Okay, so I see there are still 12 people here, and it's 3 minutes to 6. I was going to go until 6, but I'll go a little bit longer. If anybody has questions that they would like to ask, I'm all ears. What do you say? Okay, nothing so far. Okay, well, I will just, wait a second here. Is there medical, okay, wow, lots of questions. Okay. Are there medical outposts? Yes. The Camino is not out in the middle of nowhere. There are plenty of places, plenty of pharmacies, plenty of doctors. Yes, Cindy, you will be well cared for by doctors all the way along. So no need to worry about any of that. Thanks, Anne. Glad you enjoyed the call. Anybody else? I'm sorry, I needed to press on something to see your comments. I didn't see them for a minute there. So if you wrote something in the last minute or so that I haven't responded to yet, please write it again, because I'm only just seeing it now. I just saw Cindy's Cycle Laughs comments about medical stuff. Okay, well, looks like everybody's good. Oh, how much did you train before you went? No, Michelle, 0. Not at all. Didn't train at all. Didn't train at all. So yeah, definitely. What I'm doing is I've made a decision as of last week to go for a long walk with my gear, with my pack full. I'm going to go for at least a 2-hour walk every weekend. Yes, clean water. Cindy, all the way along, the water's fine. I never had any issues with the water. Yes, Ray, if you get hurt, there is medical aid. There's, yeah, you're in very good hands. I've heard experiences of people in the middle of nowhere who, fall down, who can't walk, and someone will appear, exactly the kind of person that they're looking for, who has Band-Aids, surgical tape, whatever. One of the guys that I met early on in my trip was an acupuncturist, and he was using very small needles, about half an inch long, and he was just offering his gift for free to anybody who wanted it. So I have a picture. At some point I will post a picture of myself with this guy. I must have had, I don't know, 75 needles in about 5 of my fingers. It was a wonderful experience. Yes, I did see cyclists. You can cycle the Camino. I was absolutely gobsmacked at some of the areas where I saw people cycling because they were just brutally hard. And other sections where, it was much flatter, and thought, yeah, boy, that must be a lot of fun to do that. So, can you do the entire trail on a cross-track mountain bike? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. There are a couple. I can only remember one spot where I looked down and there was an arrow saying, walking, and an arrow saying biking. But the rest of the time, it is pretty much the same trail. It's incredibly difficult in some sections. You're literally, having to, there's no way you can ride the bike. You'd have to be like pushing or carrying your bike on the tougher terrain. But yeah, you can do the whole thing if you so choose. So Any other questions? Okay. Based on the number of people who have, you're very welcome, Ray. Based on the number of people who have, you're very welcome, Cindy. Based on the number of people who have responded, I think what I'll do next time is I will make this a Zoom event, because then I can have you all speaking with me in real time. And, oh, Jacinth, that's great. I was not going to go back, but now you've changed your mind and hope that you can walk again next September. You are very welcome, my friend. I would be delighted to see you there next September. Much, much love. So yeah, as I was saying, next time I will do this as a Zoom call and send out the Zoom link. I don't know what the limit is on people on a Zoom call, but I know it's at least a dozen. So then we can have much more of an exchange of information. So I'll probably do that next week. I like this. So as I said, if you want this document, just ask me for it. I would be happy to send it to you. If you want to make a donation to my next Camino in exchange, that would be great. Not necessary. And I think that's it. Thank you so very much. I greatly appreciate your time. And if I have made anybody on this trip besides Jacinth want to move from taking the Camino off of their bucket list and into their lives, I'm extremely happy. I really, really want to encourage you in every way, shape, and form I can to do that, because it's well worth it. For me, the highlights of the trip were fourfold: the people that I met, the beautiful countryside, the musical moments that I got, but by and large, above all those, the sense of joy that I felt from living so simply and freely. Being instead of doing was exquisite. And as I am back home now, I really feel that deepening in me. It is a healing experience. It's definitely a healing experience. So go. You gotta go. Okay. Much love to you all, and happy Thanksgiving to my American friends. Hope to see you soon.